8 years ago, I went out of my way to read a nonfiction book for the very first time with the hopes of making my brain smarter. Since then, based on my calculations, I read over 400 books on every topic you could possibly imagine. In this video, I'm going to distill some of the biggest takeaways, but also the biggest mistakes that I've made along my reading journey so that you can adopt them and turn reading from a nice to have, or I'll do it when I have time, to one of the most important things in your life, because trust me, it is, and I'm going to share all the details about why. But before I do, I have a crazy announcement for you. A few years ago, I started writing a book. It had been my dream for the longest time to become an author, and then I spent some time in California earlier this month, and something clicked. Because since I've got home, I've been writing like an absolute psycho. I cannot wait to share this project with you, so much so that at the time of this video, you can grab the first chapter for free. It's the first link in the description down below. If you have read a lot of books and you've learned a lot of cool stuff, but you find yourself defaulting back to old habits, this book is all about mastering the art of change. Change is one of the most difficult things to do until you understand how your brain and your nervous system are wired. And it's half book, half toolkit, because it's full of actionable and practical things that you can actually do to see measurable and rapid and tangible and lasting changes in your life. It's so frustrating to get to the end of a book and go, wow, that's amazing. I'm so inspired and excited, but like, what's my first step? What do I actually do to see things become different, to go from A to B? So I'm so excited to share this with you. You can grab it in the link down below in the description. Let's move on. Lesson number 1 from the last 8 years of reading absolutely obsessively, and I tell my kids this all the time. If you struggle with reading, read what you love until you love to read. I didn't make that up, but I wish I did. Read the things you love to read. So if you love reading autobiographies, biographies, fantasy fiction, whatever it is, sci-fi, I really don't care, romantic comedy, you name it, just build a reading habit. It's like somebody starting a running habit does not just jump out of bed and run a half marathon or a marathon on their first go. They probably start by walking around the block, and then maybe they walk around the block and they jog the last 30 seconds until eventually running becomes not only a habit, but part of their identity. And that's what I want for you with reading. So if you find a lot of books boring or you struggle to focus, then I think it's really important just to find things you love to read. I love reading Harry Potter. Like, I'm reading it with my kids right now. It's honestly one of my favorite journeys. And I always tell them when we go to the bookstore, we go to the library, like, you guys buy any book you want. I really don't care what it's about, as long as it's, safe and practical and appropriate for you to read. I don't care. I don't care if it's about my son loves hockey, my daughter loves art. I'm like, just get a color by numbers, get anything, read what you love until you love to read. Lesson number 2, I know somebody's gonna attack me in the comments for this, so just hear me out before you do that. Knowledge alone is not power. I'm gonna say that again. Knowledge alone is not power. You've likely heard the saying, knowledge is power. Yes, sort of, but what it really is latent power. It's potential power. It's dormant power that will lie dormant until you do something with the information. So it's not necessarily what you read in the book, it's how you implement what you read in the book. For example, you could read this amazing book on meditation, but if you don't build a meditation practice, then what was the point? All you're doing is taking information and it's going to rest intellectually as a thought, and then it's just going to evaporate, and you're going to grab the next book that you hope is going to secretly give you permission to change your life. Or this was a big thing that I looked for years. It's going to make you feel busy enough that you can keep avoiding the hard actions you need to take or the hard conversations you need to have in your life. No book is going to do that for you, but books are an amazing way to change your paradigm, to change the way that you think and the way that you see the world. And your reality literally is just made up entirely of those two things. You could read this amazing book about diet, but if you keep defaulting back to the same things that you eat on a day-to-day basis, don't expect a lot to change in your life. And I think that people then downplay the power of the book, saying, yeah, I read Think and Grow Rich. I read this thing. But it's like, did you do the work? Did you take the book, the information you learned, did you take immediate action on it? Did you do something to install that information in your nervous system, or did you just take in the information, go, wow, that's cool, some great ideas, very inspiring, nice, next, on to the next one, hey, pass me the remote, the game is on, and boom, you're back to your old life. Lesson number 3, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my reading journey, is just bouncing from one book to the next, to the next, to the next, and dismissing the power of rereading books. Bruce Lee said something along the lines of, I don't fear the man who has practiced 1,000 moves, but the man who's practiced one move 1,000 times. At the start of one of my favorite books, Feeling is the Secret, it says to read many books upon one's art produceth confusion rather than learning. And it can be so confusing because one book says, relax and allow things to unfold as they should. And the next book says, work until your eyes are literally bleeding onto your keyboard. And you're like, I kind of liked both books, so like, which route do I go? And the only thing that I could say is to test each theory and see what works for you. I've read a lot of books that I thought the information was good, and I tested the information inside of it, and I was like, this honestly doesn't really resonate. And then I find something else and I take action on something in the book, and it gets me the result that I was looking for. It's not about just stacking how many books you read. I honestly would suggest finding 8 to 10 books for a year that you could read and just like reread them over and over and over. And what this is going to do is it's really going to help you master the information, because sometimes you don't get the information the first go around. Like the first time I read Think and Grow Rich, honestly, most of the information just went right over my head. The first time I read The 4-Hour Workweek, I was like, yeah, cool, not really applicable to me, so we'll just move on to the next book. So don't make it a race about going from one book to the next, to the next, to the next. Make it a practice. Take your time with this. And really, if you find a book that you like, go through it many times. Dog ear, star, note, X, Y, Z, check mark, whatever you have to do. Go through the book again and again. And because you can only take in information that you're emotionally equal to, there will be parts of the book that you're like, where was this the first time I read it? This has happened to me with so many different books. And that's why I suggest just find a few books that are key players. If you want my reading list, you can grab it down below, my 57 favorite books. Go through them over and over and over. There is so much power in this. Don't make it a race about how many books you can read. It honestly, I stopped counting years ago, and I remember reading 60 books in 1 year, and I was like, who cares? Like, nobody else around me cares whatsoever. I don't need to flex on people how many books I've read. It doesn't change their life in any way, shape, or form. Be a demonstration of the things that you learn in that book, implemented. Make it an example of this is what it looks like to read, but then do something with the information that you get. Okay, the next one, and this could change the game for so many people, is stop making reading a thing that is on your to-do list. Like, I've got 10 minutes till bedtime. Okay, I'm gonna read. Oh, I have lots of work to do, so I can't afford to read right now. Meanwhile, the happiest, smartest, richest people that I know, they will literally take 4 hours out of their day to sit and read, because they know that as they increase their intellectual capital and they keep growing their knowledge base, they can make better decisions. They can put people in places to do work that is maybe mundane or administrative or busy work, so they can really hone in on their zone of genius as much as they can. Honestly, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made, was just seeing reading as like, oh, I'll do this in bedtime, or I will do this for 10 minutes when I wake up just so I don't feel guilty that I didn't read today. It's like, see reading as one of the most important things that you can do, because honestly, it is. Books can change your paradigm. They can change your model of the world. They change your perception, and they might just be, there's one snippet or one little story or testimonial read in a book that pushes you over the edge to take action, or to have the hard conversation, or quit your job, or quit your business, or your relationship, or start the business or the relationship, whatever it is. Take a book with you everywhere you go. People look at me like I'm a serial killer when I stand with a book and a pen in the parking lot when I'm waiting to pick up my kids, but most people are doom scrolling on TikTok and Instagram, so I don't really care. Take a book with you when you're waiting in line at the bank. Every time that you just whip out your phone and you start going through other people's highlight reels, replace that time with reading time. Take a book with you, keep one in your glove box or your center console, whatever it is. There's never an excuse not to read. I want you to hear that. There's never, ever, ever an excuse not to read. In fact, tell me another place that you could take somebody who's made millions or billions of dollars or won Olympic gold medals or done exactly what it is you want to do, taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decades of their experience, compressed it down into 200 pages that you could pay $20 to then download all that information and not have to make the same mistakes that they did, and distill the best of the best of the best of their philosophy into your value system or your paradigm. Like, it is honestly playing life with cheat codes on. Last but not least, I'm totally stealing this from Ryan Holiday, but he said, I just made a deal with myself years ago that I would never hesitate to buy a book. Like, if I saw a book on a shelf in a store that I thought had some potential to increase my quality of life, never hesitate to buy it. Whether it's $10, $20, $30, $40, whatever it is, the ROI on reading is absolutely immeasurable. Like, you're going to use that time anyways. You might use it answering emails or scrolling TikTok or Instagram or watching YouTube or whatever it is. Start filling that time with reading and just make it a non-negotiable. Like, if I'm at the bookstore, I am going to just, if this book looks like something that could improve the quality of my life, I'm just going to buy it. I was flying home recently from the United States, and I came across this book by a man named Brad Jacobs, and the title said, I had no plans of buying a book when I walked into the store, said, How to Make a Few $Billion. And I didn't look at the foreword, I didn't look at the chapter, I didn't look at the table of contents. I just grabbed the book and I bought it. I didn't even look at how much it cost. It could have been $100, but it's like, think of that title, How to Make a Few $Billion. This is from somebody who has made a few $billion, and he's just distilling all of his information into one book. Like, I would be lost in the sauce not to grab that book off the shelf and open the book and start reading. So I just want you to understand that going to the library is good. If you have no money, go to the library. I still have a library card. My kids and I go every single week, but I don't take a lot of books out of the library because sometimes a book really jumps out at me that's been sitting on my shelf for a year or two. Just make it a habit of buying books, and always assume that buying a book is an investment in your future. It is an incredibly good investment from somebody who's spent more money than I will say out loud on this video on coaches, courses, mentorship, masterminds, reading, God, I don't know, retreats. Books are one of the greatest investments that you can make. So that's going to wrap it up. If you want to grab a sneak peek to my new book, I absolutely can't wait to share this with you. There are so many incredible things that everybody who reads this book, if they take the knowledge, they implement it, their life is going to change. They're going to see tangible, rapid, lasting changes, because when you make change below the surface level, the conscious level of awareness, it happens really fast and it happens permanent. You just need to know how your brain is working. I don't want you to just take in information, let it rest in your conscious mind, then bounce to the next book. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.